In this encounter, I saw two big hands. The two hands were distant from each other and were facing each other. They were hanging from a few centimeters on a boulevard. This boulevard was paved and very clean, and there was a hand that was black with sharp spines. Everyone who walked towards this hand saw a human hand. They did not see that it was a black hand that had sharp spines. They saw that it was a normal human hand, and behind this hand there was a hole, an endless pit. But everyone who came towards this hand did not see this deep pit, and so once they arrived inside this hand the pricks tortured them before they even fell into the endless pit, which was behind this hand. The hand was made so as to have a hole in the middle, this hole which was hidden and could not be seen, so it was something deceptive like that. And very far in front of this hand on the same boulevard there was another hand. This one was also human, but it constantly shone with glorious light, and very few people managed to enter into that hand. I saw that few people entered inside this hand, but once in this hand I saw these people that started to shine very brightly, enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Then the Lord showed me why very few people accessed this second hand. I then saw that on this boulevard that led to the glorious hand, there were demons. These wicked spirits looked like black panthers, with red tongues like reptiles and short black horns on their heads. I saw these black panther demon on the wide road that lead to the endless pit that was behind the black hand. They were countless people traveling on this broad way, where these wicked spirits were sowing beautiful flowers on both sides. They kept sowing attractive things that had attractive colors and pleasant smells on the wide road, so they were really busy sowing all kind of deception on the path which led to the endless pit. And this broad way where the crowds were traveling, Black Panther Demon also built restaurants with dishes from the world of darkness. In fact, these dishes came from the marine world to bewitch the world and lead them towards the dark pit behind the black hand. Brethren, we must always ask for God's presence before eating, for even world food has become tool of manipulation and bewitchment. The enemy that is trying to surround the church with darkness leave no stone unturned. I saw the crowds that were in these restaurants eating the enemy food. They no longer wanted to go out. In fact, they were as if bewitched. They no longer had a thought about their destiny. And these demons also threw candy on the ground on the boulevard, following the route towards the black hand to also attract young children. The enemy of humanity has set his eyes on the children to conquer their soul. The battle for the souls of little ones has begun and is raging. Brethren, we are called to fight and engage the enemy, who want to capture the souls of the children, in order to drag them down to a world of burning fire. I saw that humanity was deceived and people were attracted by all these beautiful things the enemy is presenting them. These entertainment, pleasure and attraction of this world, the majority therefore left and were headed towards this black hand that was the bottomless pit. But I saw something happening among the crowds in the broad way that lead to the flames of hellfire. Finally I saw some pilgrims who were lost in this popular mass heading towards the abyss, being touched by white balls like snowflakes, and the white balls in question was the grace of God. When the white balls touched them, these people stopped in the middle of the road and realized that they were on the wrong track and in error. They then went in the opposite direction and began to walk towards the brightening hand, yet the majority of humanity continued to walk in the wrong direction. But when Satan saw that some people were turning away from his direction and going towards the bright hand, I saw the enemy sending the demons that I mentioned previously, those who had the appearance of Black Panther. I saw him sending them at full speed. They came with their weapon, which were thorns, points, fire in the form of sulfur and all kinds of dirt, that they deployed on that path and boulevard which led to the good hand. Demon threw dirt on the road of the boulevard which leads to the hand of the Lord. They also threw thorns and spikes on the ground to discourage the weak. They also threw sulfur, which was like fire, to prevent men from continuing their march and journey forward to the city with foundations whose architect and builder is God. In this pilgrimage I saw many of people became discouraged because of stumbling block thrown on the road by the enemy. When people walked on the boulevard towards the hand of the Lord, the thorns pricked them. They became discouraged, and then they turned around. As a result, the snowflake that symbolized the grace of God left them. But I saw another very weak man, who continued to walk on the thorns and cried out in pain, but strangely he continued to move forward despite the pain. In fact, the pain pushed him to pray even more. The grace of the Lord also at this stage of test and trial increased even more. After the thorns, those who resisted the pain continued the journey and faced the nails ahead. There again they shouted even more because of pain, but they did not give up. This pushed them to pray more, and the grace of the Lord was only growing in them. At that point the grace of the Lord had already covered half of their body, and when they continued the journey they came across the sulfur that burned them, but in their pain they got closer to the Lord, and the last obstacle was the garbage that were thrown by the enemy to dirty them. But there again I noticed that it brought them closer to the Lord. After crossing the dirt and overcoming the obstacle, I saw that they were filled with resplendent white glow in all their beings. This pure white light, which was the grace of God, had now taken on another form. It was now the Spirit of God who filled them totally, and at the same time they were sealed for their salvation. The salvation of their souls was finally sealed. They therefore accessed to the right hand, so they entered the right hand. It was then that the Lord told me the thorns symbolize persecutions. In this period my children encounter obstacles and oppositions of all kinds that oppose them and their faith. The nails symbolize trials. During this period my children are tested because I want to judge the quality of their faith. The sulfur of fire symbolizes the purification of faith, and when your faith is tested through the fire it becomes a quality faith. If it becomes a quality faith, if you do not desist at the end of this stage, your faith is increased, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perisheth, though it be tested with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. It is this stage which produces hope. The Lord said dirt of all kinds thrown on the road symbolizes rejection, false testimonies, slander. At this stage people will tell all kinds of lies about you because of me. They will invent everything so that people hate you, insult you, even do violence to you and spit on you. They will hate you to the point of even wanting your death. But this test produces the assurance of salvation. Those who do not desist receive eternal life. They will seize you and persecute you on account of my name. They will deliver you to the synagogues and prisons, and they will bring you before kings and governors. I am with you, all my children. As you walk in my voices, I will be with you to deliver you from all the traps of the devil. I will always be with you. That's all for this revelation, that everyone examines themselves so that it can bring her closer to the Lord. Peace and grace.